very beginning of May, and after this strange, very cold winter following the drought, things are at last beginning to pick up in the garden. Now here is a group of the so-called bamboo iris from Western China. You can see that the stems have a kind of a bamboo-like look to them. But the great pity of this is that it gets so tatty in the winter that when it starts flowering you can't help noticing all the brown leaves. This one was collected in Sichuan by Martin Rix, and I think it's a very beautiful thing. Probably growing it in a conservatory where it's protected from the weather might be a more sensible way of doing it. But the flowers themselves are on these long spikes and are very attractive, I think. Coming through the undergrowth, we are alighting on a flower of the weird Arisaema from China, Arisaema griffithii, or the Cobra Lily. Very appropriate name for this shape of flower. Comes out of these enormous leaves which rather hide it, but it sort of snuggles underneath there, lurking. Remarkable. Here's a wonderful site, a massive, it's grown massively, this Berberis from Chile, Berberis valdiviana, and my goodness me, I really do think dripping is the word for the flowers here. A wonderful sight. Rather large for anything but the bigger garden, I think you'll agree. Buried under ivy and other debris, I uncovered this little stand of Cyclamen, and the leaves are just enormous. Funny, it was lurking in the undergrowth. Lovely, but such dramatic leaves, it's incredible. I wonder if this could be a white form, a Cyclamen repandum, which is found in Corsica, and the leaves here are enormous. It makes a very nice bold clump. Don't know what it is about these species of peony, but they are gorgeous, I think. Even though they're single flowers, they seem to be quite sumptuous. This one is the fern leaf peony, Peony tenuifolia, from the Caucasus. And there are great fields of it in one of the national parks, and I think I showed it to you last year on my video in the wild. It must be a fantastic sight. I love these round buds as they're coming up through the ferny foliage there, gradually opening up here to the final product. A lovely peony. As you come along the path here, you're confronted by this ever-increasing group of an umbellifer with very substantial flowers on the red stems. A humble umbel it is not. The bumblebee is enjoying it. This is Matthiasella, it's called, and a very bold statement it makes. Walking up here and nestling under the coronilla is this lovely Hebe from the South Island of New Zealand, Hebe hulkeana. Very delicate spires of pale blue. Slightly tender, but beautiful. Sitting in a bed of violets is this wild peony from the Mediterranean, from France, Spain through to Lebanon and Syria. Beautiful peony, and lovely sweet scent. Unfortunately, these peonies don't last very long, just a few days, and then they start going over, which is a shame. Still, one can enjoy it for its fleeting appearance. This is peony mascula. Climbing up to the top of that tree is a rose which we're more familiar with in its double yellow form. This is the banksiae rose, and this is actually a wild seedling of it. It's got a lovely tea rose scent, absolutely unique, but it is rampant. And I rather fear for the tree that is growing up. Beauty and the beast in one rose. And here's the better known double yellow form, which is unscented and really remarkably rampant as well. Rather stealing the show by clambering over the top of this Japanese tree is the rose Senator La Follette. Grown in the Mediterranean mainly because it's slightly tender, but a beautiful pink rose. And the tree it's climbing on suckers, which is a good thing because I get to see the new growth close at hand, which is this lovely red colour. This is a tree called Malotus japonicus, and it is in the euphorbia family, which is rather amazing. You can see its resemblance to the poinsettia which we get at Christmas, and which is also one of the euphorbias. But it's lovely with its new growth. Portrait of the guard dog, Bertie. I want to talk briefly about this magnolia, which has become extremely popular, simply because it is very hardy, scented, and looks gorgeous. Now this one, they do come in all these different shapes and sizes. This one was collected in the wild in China by a friend, given to me as a seedling, and has now formed quite a wide spreading bush. This is Magnolia leavifolia. Well, here's another of these Magnolia leavifolias. This one can form quite a big bush, but it does throw its arms about. However, it's got this lovely feature of rusty buds from which emerge these white scented flowers. This one is appropriately called Velvet and Cream. Walking about down here, I could smell this fantastic sweet spicy smell, a scent wafting in the air, and I really couldn't think where on earth it was coming from. And then I remembered. I'll show you, it's around here. And here it is. Where, I hear you say. These are tiny, tiny little flowers. But my goodness, what a scent. This is an Elaeagnus. It's called Elaeagnus parviflora, parvi meaning small, and it certainly has small flowers. I remember this, actually, I came across it when I was just starting the garden about over 40 years ago. I went to Dartington Hall Gardens, fabulous gardens near Totnes, South Devon, and I was walking down some steps and there was the same scent. And I looked around all over the place. I could not see where it was coming from, and then I looked up and there was an extremely tall shrub covered in these little flowers, and that's where the scent was coming from. This shrub, however, is not for the faint-hearted, because about 2 years ago I cut it down to almost a metre off the ground with these great big trunks in the background, you see, and it has sprung back up now to about, I would say 3 meters at least. Covered in flowers though, and this time of year it's well worth it, but I'm afraid it's not for the small garden. Now here's a site I really love this time of year. I look forward to it. The Wisterias with the wild irises from Croatia, Iris pallida. And the scent is quite overpowering if you get close. I'll leave you here until we meet again next time.